During a trip in Thailand, I was getting a serious sunburst, and in the meanwhile, I was reading Nine Inch Nails' bio. This band has an undeniable strong influence in my sound. I'm a big fan of Trent Reznor. He is one of my mentors, and one of the reasons why I decided to create Locked Basement, I guess. After many years of writing and recording progressive metal, doom metal, shred, and any kind of metal thing, I just wanted to reconnect to the basis of writing an actual song. So I was reading the bio on this beautiful sunny beach of Koh Lanta, and reading and watching stories about talented musicians always inspire me, so in that moment it was growing slowly the idea of a new Locked Basement album. And in this particular case I wanted to do an album without a single guitar track, so I took it as a challenge, but to my surprise it didn't turn out to be that hard. I found it so refreshing to write music starting with a different instrument than my guitar, and I wasn't a complete rookie doing this. I used to compose small parts on different instruments before, but it was the first time that guitar was completely out of the scenes on every level. The goal here was to write something hypnotic and hopefully memorable, with the smallest amount of notes possible on melody and focusing on a pulsing and simplistic but yet powerful production, more than a rich melodic work. Everything started on the main synth line, and the rest became magic pretty quickly. I kept it simple, using just a couple of ideas or riffs, if we can call them riffs, and I was really happy to see the song 80% completed after a couple of hours. I was happy because I'm way too far distant from being that guy that writes memorable tunes or singles in general, and I think Risk is something that sounds like a single more or less, so I was really satisfied. When I write lyrics, I turn off every light but my desk lamp, and I start to make mental journeys in some really dark places actually. It often happens to hear people complaining about the fact that they want something more in their life, but they actually don't do anything to change their situation, hoping for something benevolent from the outside, or even worse, just occupying space in this world. And I learned the hard way that human being in general runs on kicks in the ass, like a big friend of mine loves to say. We need something that shakes our foundations, and I don't want to make a banal rant about the comfort zone and stuff like that. I just acknowledge that without all the strong and most of the times uncomfortable experiences I had, I would have remained the same guy of 15 years ago, who wanted to wake up dead, torn apart by depression and victim of a constant negative self-talk in my head. My life changed when I survived from a night assault with a knife in South America, and risk in general is a main component of my life because I almost died a bunch of times, and I'm not saying that I wish you the same thing or that it's positive to live constantly on the edge. I just realized years ago how it can be dangerous to live a complete preset life when you don't have to choose or struggle for what you want, and you don't walk on some uncomfortable path that are the means that nature gave us to grow as persons. And on these thoughts, lyrics came out. This time I wanted to have an actual music video, and I decided to hire professionals. I'm a big fan of Death Rage, and not only about the music, their video clips are amazing, and their guitarist runs the company that made that videos. So I sent an email to them, and long story short, I met Pietro Agostini. I came to him with just a strong image of a line of blindfolded people that stand in front of a wall, and then I asked him to write a storyboard and everything. It's a rare case of me delegating something. And I did the right damn thing because it made a fucking powerful video in my opinion. Slaves is the first song that was written and recorded. In the beginning of the writing process of this album, I was looking for something like Risk, and when Slaves came out, I liked it a lot, but I was already changing my mind about the shape of the EP, because I was telling to myself that I wasn't able to write an actual single, so it would have been better to stick to the ambient/dark electronic mood that was developing in this track. But then things turned out differently, as we have seen. The lyrics don't move away too much from Risk, maybe. I like to leave some gray zones and be more open when I talk about lyrics, because the beauty is that everyone can make his or her personal interpretation. Well, in this case with just a little bit more impatience, I would say. Because in these lyrics we talk about people that seem to ask for help, but you realize quickly that they just want to complain about themselves and there's no real desire to get out of their situation. So, quoting the lyrics, there's no worse convict than who doesn't want to be helped. This song was the last I wrote. I wanted something really minimal and dry, so it starts with this ill and creepy beat, followed by simple chords made with a simple waveform on my synth, and then a little filtered melody kicks in, just 2 verses and 2 choruses, really straightforward. The lyrics follow the main subject of the whole concept of the album, even if I wouldn't consider this EP a concept album, but this song is like a sort of epilogue where we leave people to their fate. Not that there was the intention to change these people or teach something to them, we just leave. Who knows me knows that I'm a massive Rammstein fan since I was a teenager, and this year I had the immense privilege to be invited by them personally to play live my 50 Rammstein Riffs video at their release party in Berlin, in occasion of the release of their last album. So I was there, playing their music in front of my idols for them, and initially I was nervous as hell, obviously, but after a while I just realized how fucking good life is, and how crazy was that? I'd never imagined something like this, not in my wildest dreams. And then they invited me again to see them live in Prague, so I met the girls again at the after show, and Paul brought me in the backstage and taught me some riffs from the last album. I think I haven't realized yet what happened, because it's just fucking incredible. So I always wanted to cover Sonne, because it's one of my favorite songs ever. It's powerful and has a gigantic emotional charge, but I always procrastinated because I never spoke German in my life except for the bits from the 50 Rammstein Riffs video. Actually, I decided to record the song, so I asked for one of my guitar students that is German, native speaker, to send me voice messages via WhatsApp and pronunciate each word perfectly so I could replicate in the best way I could. But the funny thing is that I recorded this cover in March of this year, and I decided to put this cover in this EP right after my trip in Thailand and way before the call from Rammstein. The coincidence was so strong and so out of the blue that when I went back from Berlin, there was no space for uncertainty, and the cover was released inside the album.